I'm Robert Floyd, the creative director of the Robert Floyd Photo Gallery and Learning Center in Southampton. We're completing our 20th year, and Monson Arts Council has invited us for the 4th time to exhibit at their Monson House of Art. And I'm sitting here with Pat Crutchfield, my friend, a advanced fine art photographer and curator of the gallery and the Monson exhibits. And I'm thrilled to have worked with Pat. We meet nearly weekly on Mondays to plan what we might be doing next year at Monson. We have a lot of fun, and Pat really gets into curating the exhibit and coming up with her ideas on what she wants to do personally. Pat?
Thank you, Robert. So this year, I decided that I would work again with the murals that are going up in the city of Springfield. And the thing that I love about any city is its life and its color. And many cities are now doing exactly this kind of thing. Well, not this kind of thing, but that kind of thing, where they'll invite artists from all over the country and local people to paint and to express themselves through painting. I was saying to Robert earlier that folks come from all over the country. They all wear these huge masks because I imagine the paint over time is toxic. And they leave us with their gifts. This particular image is in Stern Square in Springfield. As you can see, well, maybe you can't get a total sense of it, but this is a huge open area. And on either side of it is what is called the entertainment district. So there are restaurants and all kinds of stuff for a hearty Saturday night playground is what I think of it as. I love this shot because I love the musician sitting here with his guitar. He was working up one big rhythmic thank you. It's not a drum roll, is it, if it's a guitar? Yes. And what I love about this particular mural, a couple things. One, I love everything in here. I don't want to block it. I call her the Queen. The Queen has a spray can in her hand, and she has a palette that she's holding. And you can see the color on her fingers and around her fingers. And she's just saying, come play, come and play. For me, this represents all of the murals that are up in Springfield this year. If you notice behind here on the wall, a sign says Black Lives Matter. And the artistry in that sign with the letters is delightful. I grew up in Springfield, and this building here, this brick wall here, and this brick wall there are places I used to visit when I went to the dentist's, I hate to say. These motorcycles, this one and this one, there are actually 3 of them, are on the old Bell and Howell building in Springfield. And I've been photographing them for a long time. It wasn't until this was painted on an adjacent building and light began to bounce around really spectacularly that I was able to capture all of the color in the wheels, all of the color on the stem of the motorcycles. All of this is reflected from this. These are actually, where you see the color here, the yellow and the orange and the red, that's all mirrors. And the mirrors pick up the light and the color from this building if you have a good day.
So it changes from your angles too.
Yes, it does.
You almost have motion on it.
Yes, exactly. And I got lucky. I mean, frankly.
Preparation met with opportunity.
Absolutely, I love it. And so I may have had about a half hour to just play with this light and that light. And if I got light on the 3rd motorcycle, I don't know where it is. So it's not represented here.
Still moving.
Yeah, but this again is Stern Square in downtown Springfield. So you have a huge mural with a young woman holding a pallet. And you have another pallet here, which is bouncing off all of the glass and the motorcycles. It's heaven. It's heaven. And it brightens Stern Square, makes it a much more comfortable place to sit and hang out, which people do. And every Friday, probably we've missed the last one, but every Friday there's a farmer's market.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
High-tech analog.
Absolutely, I love it. This is the Community Music School of Springfield, and for years I captured images of their students. A graphic designer who worked for the school and the executive director decided that they would invite me to use some of my photographs for these. And as the artist taking care of the capturing of images of murals this year, I decided to include my own murals.
Excellent.
Not a bad idea.
Teamwork.
Yes, indeed. And part of what they did here was part of the weekend in Springfield of fresh paint was that they did chalk drawings. I can never say that fast. And this says, "Because you're loved." One of the things that I love about this entire effort in the city is that this year they invited every neighborhood, and I suspect they used the neighborhood councils, and so every neighborhood was invited to a block party with paint. And come paint was the invitation. And I just think that that's a wonderful activity for a city the size of Springfield. Come on, neighborhoods, let's paint. And the ones that I visited on a Saturday in July, I believe, were just wonderful. They were teeming with life, and there were little kids running around with paint and grown-ups. Oh, it was great. It was fabulous.
And I'm enchanted with this disability parking sign right there near where you are loved. That is an added hidden touch.
Nice little touch, right?
Yeah.
This is a sad story. I've been photographing this particular trio, and as you can see, some other graphic artist added his or her signature. And I've been photographing it ever since I discovered that it was there, and it was such an enchanting spot, and I loved the tree. And this photo is new. I captured it. I enjoyed the light. I came back 2 days later and I turned around and looked, and that's what was left. I didn't think it much enhanced anything. In fact, I found it quite annoying. And then I came back 2 days later and I saw that we were going to sit down and have a beer, I guess, I don't know. But far be it from me to question the decisions of the powers that be, but this is what they did. They took down the tree.
Hug an umbrella rather than hug a tree.
Yeah, it was. My mom used to say when she was expressing her frustration, deep frustration with something, I was fit to be tied, and I understood what she meant.
This was such a wonderful nook.
Yes.
To discover a self-discovery. It seemed hidden out of the way.
Yes.
There was a tree there. You really had to give an effort to discover it, and here.
Bare naked. just standing there looking like, oh man, you're kidding me. But at any rate.
Fit to be tied.
Fit to be tied. This is just a sample of a neighborhood party. This happens to be at the Mason Square Library, so we've moved from downtown and dead trees in Stern Square to a very, very alive and excited audience of folks on a Saturday afternoon who are painting. And one of the things that they're painting is a wall at the Mason Square Library. And the other thing that they're painting, and you can see this piece here, the Mason Square Library piece begins here, and this young lady was fun to watch because she was into it. She was going to color in between the lines. You know how that goes. Here we have a sketch for a mural that was actually originally done by this gentleman here, who is Ray Blanton. And Ray and his brother, back in 1967, knocked on the door of a store that at the time occupied the building, and asked the owner if he was okay if they would do a mural. And he said, yeah, sure. And that was the beginning of it, and it disappeared gradually over time. And the city decided to restore it. And it was just wonderful to watch the artists following this diagram here and watch people fill in the blanks of the paint of the mural.
I love the group participation in the background.
Yep.
You see various people in various tables, various activities, and you can sense the pride, the body language.
Everybody had a ball. It was just such a wonderful place to be during the weekend that when they were painting in neighborhoods. And here it is, almost all the way live. This is the restored mural, and I'm glad they restored it. Someone taking a photograph. It didn't take long. They hadn't even moved the machinery. It's just such a tribute to Ray and his talent. He's very well known in the area, and his work is celebrated, and it's a good thing. And I'm glad to see that this is back on. This is now not a store, it's a mosque. And to see this mural alive and well, and to see people enjoying it was a blessing. And I was glad for the opportunity.
Fabulous to reconstitute a leading revolutionary original Springfield mural.
Yeah, Ray he works a lot with kids because he believes that everybody should have access to art and the artist in themselves.
His mural here reminds me of the muralist, historic Manhattan, Herring. He had the sort of stick figure.
Yeah. Wow, that's like, talk about my past.
Yeah, and so there was some familiarity with the shape and design of maybe what was yesteryear, and how important murals are to have driven by, and they stay in the collective consciousness, if you will, and
they do. I remember the first time I ever hiked the High Line in New York. Yes, and seeing I don't know. Somebody thought it was funny, and I agree, I guess. Einstein holding a sign that says, "Love is all." Well, I snapped a shot, and it hangs in a place where I can see it often as I pass, and I go, right, Einstein.
It's reassuring.
Yes, it is.
And it becomes a mecca for those traveling, too, and traveling around with you through the various blocks. It was amazing to see a wall of color.
Yes.
And then it had definition, and then it passed, and it was in a rearview mirror. And then there was something ahead. And
You're right.
It gave a thread of continuity with the communities and hope.
Yeah, and I can remember this in 1968 I wasn't in Springfield at the time, I was in New York City. This was revolutionary because look at all those masks and look at that kid with his fist over his heart. And look at that kid right there doing. It's like, okay. And folks now see it as part of the wall, part of the neighborhood, part of the community. In fact, there is a sign not too far away from it that says "Your vote counts." So it's all part of the fabric.
And perhaps this is hope that the other murals will not fade to
Absolutely.
oblivion. They'll be reconstituted at one point down the future. So that's great.
Yeah, this is happening all over the country. Apparently there are murals, well, Nashua, New Hampshire, and Worcester. You know Worcester. and
Manhattan with the Audubon.
Manhattan, yep.
The upper.
Not to mention Gandhi and Mother Teresa.
Yes, down
it's just,
from the
it's
Highland, yeah.
wonderful. It just
Yes.
fills your eyes
Yes.
with color and it just makes me feel great.
Worthy of another trip back.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We are before the snow falls.
Excellent.
All righty. MLK Community and Youth Center building is in the heart of the Mason Square neighborhood in the community. And I don't, aside from the color, I don't think there's anything to say about this. I think that, a former student and friend of mine, not former friend, but former student, Ron Johnson's the executive director of the Martin Luther King Family Services and Youth Center. And I watch him every day get up and go to work and try to do things to improve the community. They have a great relationship with food banks in the area and with Gardening the Community, which is also in the area, but that was last year's project. And here we have a mural with the names of folks who have been who've lost their lives through interactions with the police. And here we have MLK representing his beloved community. And I think that these are beautiful. I think they're bright. They catch my eye. They make me happy. And I'm so glad that for Ron's work and for the work of his staff and for the work of the city. And I'm really, really glad that they have two different artists who rendered these. It's wonderful.
Very uplifting.
Oh.
And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that one.
Okay, is it in the pile?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
yay! So I was standing across the street with the camera in my hand, obviously taking photographs. This gentleman was walking by. He looked up and realized he was walking in my picture. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I said, "Oh, no, go ahead, go ahead." So he did this, saluted me, and went on. That's the only shot I had a chance to get.
It's wonderful. And if you were to paint him in, this is exactly where you would paint him in compositionally.
Indeed. And, God bless you, sir. Have a great day. Say their names. I don't know what to say about it. Every name to date of anyone who we've all heard about because they've gotten some pretty intense national attention.
George Floyd.
Yep, George Floyd is one. I'm sure Breonna Taylor's in there, and folks that I frankly have and shamefully have forgotten about. But here they are, and I love the megaphone because that's what's gotten the attention of positive thinking folks all over the country. Whoa, something's going on here. What's happening? Say their names. Don't forget.
Being the creative director of the Robert Floyd Photo Gallery and Learning Center for 20 years has given me a worldwide, unbelievable amount of pleasure, experience, satisfaction, goodwill to the community. But the shining star is the Monson Arts Council for believing in us that we could show their world, our world of photography. And we did it with the Nature Photo Contest, and the last 3 exhibits with Pat have been social justice themes. And I never, on my own, could have pulled this off without Pat Crutchfield. She's kept me on my toes. She's called me on some things and set me straight here and there. And there's beautiful, loving teamwork. But the Monson Art Council gave us a challenge to rise above and beyond ourselves for social justice. And we've touched on many issues, and we've had scores of photographers who have participated. And more movingly is the feedback from the Monson community and from afar, who have come to visit the exhibits for 3 years, the first 2 weekends in October, and what it's meant to them to see a social justice photo exhibit. Pat and I start to meet the Monday after the Monson exhibits to plan the next year's, and we don't quite know sometimes where we're going, but we know we're going to do something.
And we're going to get there.
Yes. And Pat is very cool, confident, and I admire that about her. And I sit there saying, she doesn't have any idea what she's going to do next year. Okay.
Well, that was actually true this time up until, I think the last time you asked, because you were wise to let it go.
I learned.
The last time you asked, it was June. And I said,
Getting
well,
close.
Robert, I haven't gotten there yet. And what I appreciate about you is that you trust that I'm going to get there.
Yes.
And that it's going to be something worth seeing when I get there.
You've proven yourself over and over, and I'm amazed, I'm thrilled, beyond expectations, but yes, I know you're going to get there, and at her own time, at her own speed. And then she gets into printing. Well, the momentum of this exhibit, and not having an exhibit last year because of COVID, I felt it unsafe to have an exhibit. We already know what our theme will be for next year, and it'll be the Kestrel Land Trust. There'll be a photo contest exhibit open to everyone to photograph the landscapes of the various properties of Kestrel Land Trust, based in Amherst, and mostly all Western Massachusetts properties, to exhibit landscapes, critters, and people using the properties, using the facilities and all different stages, bird watching, picnicking if that's allowed,
yes.
Photography,
Yes.
hiking,
Yes.
with or without canines.
I won't go into the woods without my dogs.
Good. So we're thrilled to be here, and again, we want to keep offering more than we can, but great teamwork with Monson Art Council, and our hats off to them. And thank M-PACT TV for making this all possible for you to view. And Ryan has been wonderful and steadfast and being patient with us and working with us, and we're quite proud to be a part of it. So thank you, Ryan.